So you've just gotten dumped. I know what you're feeling. I've been there. But what you want to know right now is it affecting them, the person who dumped you? Are they filled with regret? Are they sad? Are they desperately wanting you back the way you want them back? You want to know these things, right? Well, that's what we're covering in today's video. Before we get into that though, I'm excited to announce that I'm doing some one-on-one coaching for a limited time. And you can get a 30-minute session with me live one-on-one, either via Zoom or phone call, your choice. Or you can send in your question to me about the relationship struggle that you're having. I will record a custom video answer for you and send it back to you within a couple of days. That's a slightly cheaper option. You've got the choice of either one though. Links are down in the description. You'll also see a card for it right up here if you want to check it out and see what the options are. So do breakups hurt the dumper, the person who did the dumping? And the short answer is yes. But their grief is going to be different than yours if you got dumped. And that's even more true if they monkey branched to somebody else or if they had your replacement already lined up. Oftentimes, I'm going to generalize and stereotype here. Oftentimes, women will have your replacement lined up if you're the guy who got dumped. They will already have somebody waiting in the wings and they'll just jump right from you to them. And that's because, especially if they're codependent, if they're narcissistic, if they have attachment wounds from childhood, they don't want to be alone. So they will line up somebody and have them waiting in the wings so that they don't have to face being alone. They just go right to somebody else. They oftentimes will try and recreate memories that you did with them, with this new person. But ultimately that pain is still there and this new person isn't you. And going to all the same places that they used to go to with you isn't going to make them feel normal. And that pain is eventually going to come out the hard way. They're just using coping mechanisms to kind of pretend the pain doesn't exist. Do dumpers stalk their exes? And the short answer is absolutely yes. And I've seen this a couple of times in my life. When my now ex-wife dumped me, and she began looking at my Facebook and Instagram stories frequently after that. And in fact, one time blew up on me because I had reconnected with an old girlfriend on Instagram. She was married with kids, so I didn't have any romantic interest in her, but she just kind of went off on me one day in a jealous rage. I'm like, you dumped me. Why do you care? But they definitely will stalk you. And they might do that directly. In other words, on your Facebook or Instagram stories, you might actually see their name showing up. I had a client I was working with just the other day, and he was telling me that his ex-girlfriend actually created 2 or 3 different fake accounts to stalk him on Instagram. And so you might see that as well, because that is a more covert way of stalking you without them directly letting their presence be known. They might also stalk you through mutual friends accounts. But up to 90% of the time, an ex will keep tabs on you through social media after they dumped you. How likely is it that the dumper is going to come back to you? And it depends a lot on how you behave. If you go no contact, which is what I always recommend, and you get on with your life, you focus on being the best version of you that you can be, and you're not sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, you can bet there's a high likelihood they will come back. But I do have to be honest with you here. The most recent studies I've read show about a 43% likelihood that they will come back. So the majority of the time, unfortunately, they will not come back. But almost 50% of the time, they will, if you play your cards right. So I mentioned no contact a second ago. So how does the dumper respond to no contact? And in most cases, unless the end of the relationship was highly tumultuous and angry and argumentative and really destructive, they still care about you, right? After all, there's a reason that they were in a relationship with you to begin with. So chances are they still really deeply care about you, even if they monkey branched to somebody else or are having a rebound with somebody else. That doesn't mean that they don't still care about you. And the reality of it is that rebound or that monkey branched relationship they went to, that's probably not going to last. An actual rebound has about a 75% failure rate and typically only lasts maybe 2 or 3 months. But if you go no contact, it will get them curious about you. Oh, well, I wonder how he's doing. I wonder what's going on in his life. And that, again, leads to that 90% of the time exes stalking you on social media. They're checking out to see what's going on. If they do care about you, they want to know that you're okay. They want to know what you're up to. They want to see, is he moved on? Is he seeing somebody new? They want to know those kinds of things. Now, if you want them back, those kinds of questions are good for them to be asking themselves. So it is kind of fun and maybe a little playful to intentionally put things on your social media that might get them wondering about you. I don't want you to lie. I don't want you to manipulate, but it's okay to have a little fun with it. But the other side of the coin with regards to no contact is it does give the dumper kind of a chance to kind of clear their head where they're not in your immediate space and you're not on their radar 24/7. So it does give them a chance to clear their head too. Sometimes that will make them realize that it was a mistake to dump you though. So that's a good thing too. Who gets over a breakup the fastest? And the short answer is somebody with a secure attachment style who did the dumping. They are absolutely going to get over the breakup the fastest, and they will be the least likely to go back and try and get the relationship back again. Now, the reality of it is, though, is most people tend to be either avoidant attachment style people or they tend to be anxious attachment style people. And both of those types have attachment childhood wounds. If you want to know more about attachment styles and how they affect relationships, check out this video card that's on the screen right up here where I do a deeper dive into it. But most people don't have a secure attachment style. That is the goal, but most of us don't. So how long does it take the dumper to regret dumping you? And the short answer is somewhere between months 3 and 4 after they have dumped you. That is when they really begin to feel the regret the most. And if you've been going no contact that whole time, that's absolutely the right strategy. And that might actually speed that up. You might see them regret that prior to the 3rd or 4th month mark. In the case of the woman who dumped me about 6 weeks ago, she's actually reached out to me a few times and we've actually connected a few times, if you get my drift. But I am not initiating hardly any contact with her. I'm just sort of waiting to hear from her. Now, if you want to know more about going no contact, because I have talked a lot about that in this video, how to do it, why to do it, what not to do when you're doing it, and what to do if you've already blown it and you've been begging and pleading and seeming desperate and needy and pathetic. If you want to know what to do now, check out this video on my channel right here, right now. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.